For the best in music, arts, and entertainment, venture to the outside. ITO Radio America.
Well, I noticed a lot of new faces this evening, and I'm so glad you all came. And I want you to know that this is a safe place to share. So if you want to tell us your story, there'll be no judgment.
Hi, my name's Charlie, and as you know, I have a problem. I'm addicted to cars. Today, my friends, is a good day. Anytime we have a new toy and something fun to do, it's a good day. But in this case, it's an exquisite day. Mine and Papa's newest project is something much different, but something that I've really been looking at doing for a long time. I have a huge soft spot for these and this whole genre of automobile, and I think a lot of you are going to like it as well. So before I get too much into it, I might as well show you what we've got. Very excited. Check it out. So as you can see, I am in a 1995 Cadillac Seville SLS. This thing is rad. I don't know what else to say. This thing is luxurious, it's decadent, it's ridiculous, it's over the top, super 90s cool. Just, I don't know, I really like this retro futuristic look. It really reminds me a lot, the angles and the lines of this car, obviously a lot bigger, but it reminds me a lot of my Mercedes SL with the lines and the design. And I've wanted one for a long time. Actually, to be honest, what I've really been wanting to get and what I will get eventually is the Eldorado. I'm very excited to get myself an Eldorado from the same body style, but to be honest, there's no bad Eldorado, so you know, something older would be pretty cool too. And maybe this will scratch my itch for this particular era of Cadillac. But this is my very first Cadillac. I know it's Papa's first Cadillac. We've been dabbling in the German luxury automobiles, the Swiss luxury automobiles, and this is our first foray into American luxury. So we'll see how this goes. Clearly not a safe choice because of this Northstar, this early Northstar engine. I was actually warned by my good friend, who is a Cadillac expert, to steer clear of the Northstar engines from 1995 to 2001. And this is 1995, so not great. However, in our defense, this was a great deal in the context of right now, with cars being overpriced. This was a decent deal. And this car only has 65,214 miles on it. So again, 27 years is 27 years, so that doesn't change, but the mileage is really low. We don't generally keep cars that long, although it's gonna be hard to pry this one out of my fingers. So hopefully it doesn't bite us in the ass, but we wouldn't be gluttons if we made smart choices with cars anyway. So it is what it is. It's in fair condition. It's got a lot of work that can be done to it for sure. The nice thing is this is all stuff that Papa kind of takes pride in, as far as paint touch-ups and replace some of the trim and make it look a whole lot better, and then just detail it. We're gonna get we got these really cool blue leather seats that we're gonna get some dye and try to bring it back to life. The inside's actually in pretty good shape. Everything in here works. Surprisingly, drives like a dream. This thing is like driving a boat down the freeway. It was unbelievable. Gas is terrible, but I mean, it's a big V8. It's fun. What are you gonna do? So the Cadillac Seville was manufactured from 1975 to 2004. And the hilarious thing is, this was actually brought about by GM as being the smaller, sportier alternative to their big cars. This car is ginormous. So this was their version of a compact Cadillac. It's hilarious. I love it. The name Seville is actually taken from a Spanish province and its capital city, known for its arts and historical treasures. I think several famous painters were from Seville. And the name was actually first used as a trim level, I believe, for the Eldorado. In 1956 through 1960, they developed the two-door hardtop Eldorados, they were designated as the Eldorado Sevilles. So at first it was a trim level, later on it became its own model of car. The first generation, like I said, was Cadillac saying, hey, Mercedes and BMWs are getting popular over here. The youth is liking them. Cadillac isn't alone now in the luxury car department, so we need to do something to attract some more young buyers. So they kind of thought this was the answer. Their slogan had always been bigger is better, and that wasn't really proving true anymore with the new younger buyers, so they wanted to try something different. The Seville is almost 1,000 pounds lighter than its big brother, which is the DeVille, and basically they used a lot of styling cues on the original Seville from the Rolls-Royce Shadow, which is pretty cool. So the Seville debuted in 1976 with a price tag of $12,500 or so, which at the time was equal to like $63,000 in 2021 money. So it was still expensive, really expensive. It actually saw moderate success. It didn't do what they thought it was gonna do. It didn't really draw the younger buyers because Cadillac was sort of a legacy brand that people showed more loyalty to, and if you had no loyalty to them, first-time customers weren't really coming. And then the tried and true Cadillac lovers, this was kind of small and different, and it wasn't the same thing that they were used to, so they weren't really buying them. What ended up being, they said, was a lot of older ladies, like wives of Cadillac owners, that wanted their own Cadillac that was smaller, that they could park easier and maneuver around easier. So it did moderately well. It wasn't a bust, but it didn't do as well as they thought it was going to do. Also in this first generation, the Tripmaster computer came out, which was kind of a big deal, kind of a moot point in new cars. They all kind of do the same thing, but it was kind of a big deal back then. I think it was like a $900 option to get this Tripmaster computer. So that was kind of a big deal, and that was brought about in the first generation, I think 1978. So the second generation was from 1980. This is the first year that they made the Seville as a front wheel drive. They based it off of the E-body Eldorado, which was the same as the Riviera and the Oldsmobile Toronado. So for the second generation, they drew inspiration from the styling of English coach builders Hooper and Company's Express line designs from the 50s, which were actually a callback to the cars of the mid-30s and were really cool looking. These weren't much different in size to the first generation, but the styling was a little more extreme and kind of unique. The third generation from 1986 to 1991 saw the Seville drop to an actually smaller vehicle. And it kind of actually lost its Cadillac flavor and character, to be honest, and I don't think it did very well. People saw it as just another version of everything Buick and Pontiac and Oldsmobile were doing at the time. Wasn't really unique, and it actually was like 15% higher in cost than the previous generation of Seville. So it was really expensive, and you weren't really getting much of a unique vehicle for that money. In that third generation, in 1988, they introduced the Seville STS, which stood for Seville Touring Sedan. It was upgraded suspension, had some upgraded trim, custom looking trim, and a bunch of upgrades on the interior. But that was kind of a big deal because the STS would stay with Seville throughout the rest of its run. Fourth generation was from 1992 to 1997, and that's what this car is. I love these things. I don't know, I'm sure it's an acquired taste, but I think they're beautiful. I think they're really cool lines. It really speaks to the Euro design at the time, kind of like I said, what Mercedes and BMWs were doing. This was actually the first Seville to make real waves. The STS was Motor Trend Magazine's Car of the Year in 1992. And Car and Driver featured it in their 10 best list for that year as well. So it was critically acclaimed and much more widely accepted by everyone for the first time with this new design. Fourth generation's also when they split into two trim levels. There was the STS, which was the touring sedan, and it had the more performance-based platform. And then there was the SLS, which was the luxury sedan, which had the same engine, was a little bit more luxurious as far as additions and options on the interior. In 1994, the Seville STS, along with the Eldorado ETC, which was the two-door kind of companion model for the Seville, became the most powerful front-wheel drive cars on the market. They had like 300 horsepower, which isn't great now. It's not bad now, but at the time, that's pretty amazing. Lost in translation a little bit is how huge these cars are and heavy they are. So clearly they weren't breaking speed records, but that's a lot of horsepower. And then these engines at the time were known to be kind of special, low maintenance, strong engines. Time has been a little unkind to the Northstar with the benefit of hindsight and all the issues that have plagued the Northstar, in used cars for the last 3 decades almost. But at the time, they really excited people. So the fifth and final generation went from 1998 to 2004. The car looks similar to the fourth generation, but they refined it. Overall, the car actually looks smaller and sleeker. This fifth generation is also the first Cadillac, or the first American car, I believe, to be produced in both left-hand and right-hand drive configuration, because it did really well overseas. Production of the STS actually ended in May of 2003, and then 7 months later, they stopped with the SLS. Final production was December 4th, 2003. Then in 2004, Cadillac replaced the Seville with the Cadillac STS, and that was its run. Sadly, Cadillac went to smaller, more sportier, and also very cool cars, but I do miss these boats. This Cadillac, this beautiful Cadillac, was actually $42,000 MSRP, plus whatever options were available. Like I said, it's got lots of work to do. We have a lot to do on it. We'll do some proper videos once we get this thing shining and gleaming, and get some of the trim replaced and do what we're gonna do to it. I can't wait. I can't wait to show you guys. So much fun to have. So much fun to drive, and I can't wait to see what Papa and I can do with it. I hope you guys enjoy this Cadillac as much as we do. Lots more on the way from both Papa and I, and also some of our friends that we're gonna show you what they've got going on. So please like, subscribe, click the bell for new content, and hey, we'll see you on the next one.